everyone, and welcome back from our Mardi Gras break. We had a nice, restful, long break, and now everybody's back, and we are ready to jump right back in. Let me say thank you for the Valentine's Day gifts that I received on Friday. I was not here Friday, but I got them when I got here today, and I just appreciate everything that everyone has given me. Thank you so much, students and parents. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into what we are doing today. Today we did start a new lesson today, lesson 16, and that lesson is still dealing with area. We're going to be looking at area in a different way. So when we first started area, we started off small by just counting all the squares inside of the rectangles to see what the area was. Then we moved up to multiplying the length times the width to find the area. Now we're looking at adding to find the area. And how we're going to use adding is basically we're going to have what is called, today was a new vocabulary word called combined rectangles. And that was the vocabulary part that we have here. It was called combined rectangles. And I had already did this part with the students in class, so they already have all this filled out. But what it is with the combined rectangles, when we have two or more rectangles that we combine together to get the total area of a larger rectangle. So we might have a rectangle A and a rectangle B, and when we combine them together, they give us a larger rectangle, and we have to find the area of rectangle A, and then find the area of rectangle B, add them together, that's where the adding comes in at, and then we will find the total area of that larger rectangle. So that's basically what we did today, and that's what the homework is about today. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So when we look at number 2, like I said, we did vocabulary already in class. We're going to go ahead and go to number 2. So it says, did Lola and Eric each create a combined rectangle from rectangles A and B below? Explain. So these are the two rectangles. They have A is 3 inches wide by 3 inches long. B is 3 inches wide by 1 inch long. So they want to know, did they create a combined rectangle? Remember, combine means we're going to put them together, and they should get the same area. So if we look at this, okay, so we have Lola. Lola has her rectangle A, and it is 3 inches, and rectangle B, we have it at 3 inches wide as well. When we combine it, you can write the inch on the other side. If you need to see both, you can do that. Or you can just keep it on one side like they did, because we already know that if this side is 3 inches, then that side is 3 inches. So far, we have 3 inches for both A and B. That is correct. Now, when we get to her length, that was the width, sorry. When we get to her length, so we have a length right here of rectangle A being 3 inches, and then we have B as 1 inch. Now, when we get to hers is 4 inches. So what they did when we combined them together, they added the lengths together. So if I add my 3 inch plus my 1 inch, this gives me 4 inches. So my 3 inch plus my 1 inch gives me 4 inches. That's how they got the 4 inches. So far, Lola has a correct combined rectangle. So let's go to Eric. So for Eric, now, they did his a little bit different. Lola's, they just push it together. Eric, they kind of moved his underneath. So let's look at that. So for Eric, we have the length side. So the length we have, remember our length was our 3 inches and our 1 inch, and we got our 4 inches. So that would be correct when he got the 4 inches. And our width, oh no, that's for our width, I'm sorry. Let me look again. Yes, so this is the 4 inches here. So we have our 4 inches that we got right here, and then we also have the 3 inches that we did for the length side. So we have the same numbers, they just have different places. So for one of them, we had the 4 inches as our length, but now we have it as our width. And for Lola, when we had the 3 inches as our width, now we have it as our length. Now, you may be saying, well, that's not right. Well, really and truly, if we take these numbers and we multiply, so let's multiply for Lola. We have 3 times 4, that gives us 12. Okay, if I take the same numbers and multiply for Eric, we have 4 times 3, that gives us 12. So they both have the same numbers, they just put them in different places, but it's still the same area. So yes, we would say, did Lola and Eric each create a combined rectangle? Yes, because they both still have the same area of 12 square, and it says inches. So yes, because they both still have the area of 12 square inches. And we both still use the same numbers. They just switch their order. They both still have the 3 and the 4. The orders may switch, but their areas still remain the same. So yes, they both did create a combined rectangle. So let's go ahead and go to number 3. Now remember, when I go to number 3, I'm gonna have to erase this and then move our board up. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Okay, so this is number 3. I'm zooming in for us. So number 3 says, solve the problem, show your work. Okay, so it says, Kelsey has a floor mat that is 4 feet long. So that sounds important. I'm gonna circle my important numbers. And then they tell me, and 3 feet wide, okay? That's how wide it is. That's another important number. Remember, when we see the word long, that means length. When we see the word wide, that means width. Okay, so then it says Greg has a floor mat that is 3 feet long. So I'm going to circle 3 feet long. That's an important number. And 2 feet wide. That is another important number I'm going to circle. So again, we have the length of Greg's and the width. Okay, so let's keep reading. It says they put the mats on the floor as shown. Okay, so what is the total area of the floor covered by the mat? So I'm just going to underline the question because that is what we're trying to figure out. But notice I underlined what we're looking for, the total area. Not just the area of one mat and not the other, but the total area of all the mats together. So this is something that we started in class. It's called the RDW process, which is the read, draw, write. We teach the kids, if you get a story problem and you follow the model of the read, draw, write, then you will get everything that you need to solve that problem. Or you will have everything that you need to solve that problem. So basically, read, draw, write means you're going to read the problem, then you're going to draw the model. Now for this one, we don't have to draw the model because they've already drawn it for us. We have the 2 pictures. And then the next step will be to write. You're going to write your equations, and once you write your equations and solve them, then you're going to write your word sentence that will answer the question that they are asking you. And then your problem will be complete because you will have a drawing, you will have a number sentence, which is your equation, and then you will have your word sentence, which is going to be the answer to the question that they're asking you. So once you have all 3 of those things, then that is considered a complete problem. Now you can go the extra step and do a check if you like. But I'm not going to do a check for this one because number 4 is gonna ask us to come back and do a check. So I'm gonna wait to do my check when I get to number 4. So let's go ahead and keep going with this one. So it says, Kelsey has a floor mat that is 4 feet long. Anytime we start with our problem, Ms. Newman likes to go in and circle her important numbers and underline her question. And then I go back to the beginning and go sentence by sentence. So it says, let's look at our first sentence. Kelsey has a floor mat that is 4 feet long. So when I look at this, I'm looking at my mats because Ms. Newman loves to label. And I love to label things, and I want to label Kelsey's mat because I want to know which one belongs to her. So I'm going to look at what they gave me. They told me it was 4 feet long. Remember length? Let's count and see. We have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 4 feet long, okay? And 3 feet wide, they say. So let's count how wide it is. 1, 2, 3. So this one is 3 feet wide. So I would say that it is safe to say that this first mat belonged to Kelsey. All right, let's go to the second sentence. It says, Greg has a floor mat that is 3 feet long. Okay, so let's count this mat to see if it belongs to Greg. 1, 2, 3. So this is 3 feet long, okay? And then it tells me that it has, and 2 feet wide. So let's count to see how wide it is. 1 and 2. So this indeed is 2 feet wide. So I would say that it's safe to say that the second mat belongs to Greg. All right. So now they want to know what's the total area. But before I can find the total area, I have to figure out what's the area of both of these individually. Then once I figure that out, I can figure out what's the total of them together. So let's start out with Kelsey's. And I need to figure out an equation that I can write to figure out the area for Kelsey's. Well, if I know my length is 4 feet, I can do 4 feet times the width, which is 3 feet, so times 3 feet. And this will give me an area of 4 times 3 is 12. And then square feet will be our units. Make sure you write those units. Now, I know the area of Kelsey's. Let's figure out the area for Greg's. So, same thing like Greg, I'm going to multiply his length times, like Kelsey, I'm going to multiply Greg's length times his width. So his length is 3 feet times his width, which is 2 feet. And when I multiply that, well, 3 feet times 2 feet is going to give me an area of 6 square feet. So now I have the area of both Kelsey's and Greg's mat. So now I need to figure out what's the total. So if I don't want to know the total means we're going to combine them together, everything all together. So let's combine it together. So my next one I'm going to label total. Ms. Newman likes to label everything, guys. I had this one labeled Kelsey, had this one labeled Greg, and I had this one labeled total. I like to keep everything nice and neatly and labeled so that I know exactly where I have to go to find what I need. So to find the total, I'm going to take Kelsey's total area, or her area, which is 12 square feet. And then I'm going to add it to the area for Greg, which is 6 square feet. And when I add my 12 square feet to my area of 6 square feet, that's going to give me a total area of 18 square feet. So that is my final answer. So now we can go ahead and finish up by answering the question they asked us. What is the total area of the floor covered by the mat? We will say the total area is 18 square feet. And that would be it. That is our complete problem, guys. This is what we call a read, draw, write problem. Again, we read the story. We didn't have to draw because they did our drawing for us, but if we didn't, our drawings would look very similar to this. And then we did our written equation. We wrote the equations here and here. And then we wrote our word sentence here that matches the question that they asked us. So this problem will be considered as complete, other than the check, which will be number 4. So let's go ahead and go to number 4 and check our problem. Now remember, they gave us an area of 18, well, we got a total area of 18 square feet. So I and Ms. Newman need to keep that in mind, because when I go up to number 4, of course, I'm gonna have to clear my board. So I need to remember that my area is 18 square feet. So let's go back, go down to number 4. And they told me to check my answer. So let's go ahead and check our answer. So one way that we can check our answers, we can take what we had in both of the maps. So let me grab a book so that I can see the numbers. And that's on page 340. Okay, so they gave me for Kelsey, Kelsey's was 4 feet long and 3 feet wide. Okay, so I'm gonna draw a rectangle, and I'm gonna put this as 4 feet long, 3 feet wide. Okay, and they tell me Greg one is 3 feet long and 4 feet wide. Okay, so let's do his this way. Oh. Say 2 feet wide. Okay. So I'm gonna do his as this side is 3 feet, but then I'm going to, let's see, trying to make sure I'm gonna get the right thing that I need 3 times. Yep. So, and this will be 2 feet wide. Okay, so this is Kelsey's, this is her numbers, and then this is, his name is Greg, I believe. Greg's number, let me double check, yes, his name was Greg. So, what Ms. Newman did, she went in and she actually combined the 2 together. So let's go ahead and do our check. So this is another strategy we did in class. So we know that if I am trying to find the total area, then there's another way that we can do this. I can look for the length. Well, up here we have 2 numbers for the length. We have 4 feet plus 2 feet. And 2 feet. So I can add these 2 together and get a total length. 4 plus 2 is going to be 6, and then my unit still feet. So that means the length is 6 feet. Maybe I'll write that 4 there. So that means I'm putting 6 feet on my line. Now my width, because it's 3 here, that means it's going to be a 3 that side, and they both are 3. So we just put 3 feet here. So we don't have to combine that because that's not 2 pieces I'm combining there side by side, so that's fine. We're just gonna leave it as 3 feet. So now when we multiply this, 6 times 3, that means I should get my area of 18. That's gonna be my check. So 6 times 3 is gonna give me 18, and my unit is still square feet. So that means I got 18 when I did it this way, I got 18 when I did it that way, and my answer checks out. And that's a way that we can check our work. Now, if you come up with a different strategy to check your work, that is totally acceptable, because we're all different. We all think different. So if you come up with something different, that is perfect. I like people who think outside of the box, because it gives us a different outlook or a different way to look at things other than the normal way that most people probably think about it. So if you come up with a different way to do it, good job. All right, so that is it for today. That is the end of our homework. If you have any questions, make sure you send me a message on PBIS or drop it in the comments below. I will be more than happy to answer it. I hope this was okay for you. Ms. Newman is feeling a little bit under weather right now, so hopefully I was able to explain it in a manner to where you understand. I tried my best to get through this. And hopefully I can go now and rest. But that is it. I will see you guys on tomorrow. Yes, it's Friday, I know. Yes, we have homework. It's because, again, we keep having these weird weeks where we come for maybe a couple, 2 or 3 days out of the week, and it kind of throws our lessons off, and it keeps pushing us further and further back in our lessons. But that's okay. We're going to keep pushing through it, and we're going to keep moving in a manner to where we understand and get everything we need. So that is it for today. I will see you guys on tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.